Hi all, Dr. Dan Moselle here. How are you? Um, Very unusual times. Very unusual. I want to say it was last Tuesday. I was out, went out for lunch, and things were just kind of starting to get a little bit different. And and I noticed that every time I changed, I was listening to radio, and it was just about the coronavirus, the coronavirus, the coronavirus. And I started to get an uneasy feeling, and it was just when things were really starting to shift then, because we had been hearing about it for weeks, but it started to hit home and get real, and you're seeing where things were changing. So as I was doing that, what I noticed, I started to get really uptight, and I started to feel it right in my gut. That's where I feel it. So I was, like I said, I was feeling it in the gut, and it was I didn't like it. Let me put it that way. And then it took me a while, but then I finally realized. I said um, I need to do something here. And I had just a day or two before, because I've done tapping off and on over the years, and I was just listening to a podcast, and they were interviewing. It was Paul Chek interviewing Dawson Church, and he's big on emotional freedom technique. Actually, he has a website, and I'm going to be sharing some of these websites. Hi, Shane. Is that you, Shane? But anyhow, um, I was I'm going to be sharing all this the different websites. So I uh, what I noticed was that I said, all right, well, let me do this EFT. So I right away I just started tapping, and what my goal tonight is, because I've talking to a lot of people, of course, and just listening to everything going on. There's a lot of people. We haven't experienced in older generation, kind of like this. So I decided that day, I said, all right, well, we need to do a seminar on emotional freedom technique. And I was thinking, well, we'll have it at the class, at the office, and do it online. And then, of course, as the week's gone on, I said, well, we can't do it in the office, because we just can't. That's the way things we've gotten to. So before we get going, just a couple of things. Number one, a lot of people asking if I'm still going to be able to work. Yes, I am. So far, so good. A lot of people are staying home, and I understand and I get it, and I completely support that. So, but yet I think people need need uh, need help, need my services. So at the end, we're going to be talking about a couple different ways that I'm still going to be offering services at the office, as well as via either Zoom or whatever. So we'll talk about it at the end. So emotional freedom technique it's a technique that's great for getting immediate results. It's not for it's one of those, because when we're going to do it in a sec here, what I want to do today is going to take a few minutes to explain how to do it, and then we're going to tap. We're going to do it. We're actually going to do it. So I look forward to hearing back and seeing how people do with that. But what we can go in many ways with the emotional freedom technique. It's a tapping was developed by Gary Craig years ago, and it has a lot of therapists use it. And what's nice about it is because you can use it with a therapist and really kind of dig in and get results, but also just even on your own. And when you get once you practice it a bit, you learn how to do it. you could do it anytime, anywhere. It takes anywhere from 20 seconds to you could spend a half an hour on it, you know. But within 1, 2, 3 minutes, you can really bring yourself down. Um, and so with tapping, we can go in on many things. We can go in on how you, on a feeling, if you got, like me last week when I felt that in my gut. So I just spent a few minutes on that. I grounded myself, tapped, and by the time within a few minutes, I checked back in and I was like, okay, that was good. That was helpful. So we can go in on that feeling. We can go in on certain events. Like some people, they've had traumatic events, a car accident, just any kind of trauma, any kind of post-traumatic. This is used a lot with post-traumatic stress syndrome. So we can go with that. We can go in with some thoughts, beliefs that we have, things that we want to shift and change about ourselves. You know, how many times we catch ourselves, oh, I'm not too good at that, or, oh, I'd love to be, I don't do well with those kind of things, you know, and these are a lot of times they're false beliefs. We have these from way back when. And we can even just go in on body sensations, or like if you have a pain in the back, if you're having some sciatic pain, if you're having neck pain, we could go in directly on that. All righty. So this is just an energetic way of moving energy. And so, um, so the, oops, this is and two, and one of the reasons I really wanted to do this today too is because, of course, this virus, and I think there's going to be more and more possibly coming throughout our lifetime. So, and it's all about building up immunity. We need to build our immune system, and we know things that beat down the immune system are fear and anxiety, right? Those are huge. And number one, and number two, viruses and parasites, they live on fear and anxiety. So when we have, the more fear we have, the more you're kind of feeding that virus. So let's get the fear down, be concerned, there's a difference, right? We want to be concerned, and fear is just to get our attention and go, there it is. There's the problem. And now once we identify that there's a problem, how can we deal with it? And so we know this, and most of us, that thankfully this virus is, it's really, if you're a healthy individual, younger and healthier, and by younger, I mean, from the sounds of it, if you're 70 and younger and very healthy, you're pretty darn good. And even if you're 70s, 80s, if you're healthy without pre-existing conditions, you should be pretty okay as well. But the goal tonight is to teach you these fundamentals, and then we're going to do several rounds to practice, and you kind of get the gist of it. And I will be, anybody who wants to, if you'll contact me either by my phone, I'll be sending out an email again tomorrow with the recording of this, as well as with all the information we're going over tonight. So so I want you to focus on just learning it, and all the details we'll take care of. But the goal tonight is to teach you this, and the big four things that people get out of emotional freedom technique is relaxation, immediate relaxation within minutes. We should tap, and you should go, number one. Number two is reducing or eliminating toxic emotions. And emotions are good and fine in and of themselves, but when they get toxic and they get trapped and we can't move them, that's when we run into trouble. Then also just releasing, eliminating negative beliefs. It's these beliefs that hold us back. So we need to fix our beliefs. And then just if you tap over a period of time, people talk about, and I experienced it, it helps you keep your vibrations up, keep you in a positive mode, and you just get a general sense of well-being. You know those times when you just go, ah, man, I just feel, I don't know, I can't explain it. I just feel good. So let's bring that on a little bit more. All righty. So anyhow, so the main gist of it, I'm going to share my screen here if I can. Hold on a sec. Hold on. Share. And there it is. So you should be able to see my screen now. So here's the overview of the emotional freedom technique basics. Sorry for people on Facebook, I don't know how to share it. Just people on Zoom. But anyhow, I'm going to go over them here anyhow. So actually, so the basic thing is there's going to be the karate chop, and I'm going to unshare this. It's probably better if I just show it to you. Now that I think about it. All righty. So anyhow, the basic gist of the EFT is to have a feeling, a thought, an emotion, a belief, and want to create a statement in regards to that. So like say it was like, I will go with what I had last week, this uneasiness in my stomach. And it was kind of a vague feeling, right? It was just I just couldn't even really, just that kind of like this impending doom that something bad's coming up, something bad's coming down the pike. So anyhow, so we can go, the statement would be, and this is always the same. And once again, I'm going to be sending this all to you. I have a handout for this. And it's just, even though, and then while we're doing that statement, there is what's called the karate chop point along the side of the hand here. So, all you do is I just take a few fingers and I just tap, even though. And then I say, even though I have this vague, uneasy feeling in the pit of my stomach, I love and accept myself completely. And then I do that 3 times. Even though I have this vague, uneasy feeling in the pit of my stomach, I love and accept myself completely. Even though I have this vague and uneasy feeling in the pit of my stomach, I love and accept myself completely. And then what we're going to do is the other points. I'm going to take the glasses off here a sec. Right at now with these points, the ones that are on one side or the other, you can do either left or right. There's no right or wrong. You can mix and match back and forth. So on the inside, at the edge of the inside of your eyebrow, and you just tap. And then after we do that statement that we said, so with that, we said, all right, this, even though I said all that, this vague, uneasy feeling. So after that, then we can just say this vague, uneasy feeling. And I try to recall what that vague and uneasy feeling in my gut felt like, this vague and uneasy feeling. So on the inside of your eyebrow, the corner on the edge, right on the side of your eye, that temple area there. Once again, it can be left or right, doesn't matter. Then I just keep repeating this vague, uneasy feeling, vague, uneasy feeling. And I'll tap 6, 7 times or so. Then I come right underneath the eye, this vague, uneasy feeling, this vague, uneasy feeling. And then I come right underneath between the nose and the lip. And once again, right now, you're right on the middle, this vague, uneasy feeling, vague and uneasy feeling. And then we have one right on the middle of your chin, this vague and uneasy feeling, this vague and uneasy feeling. Then we have down on your right, where your collarbones come in on either side and where it meets the breastbone there. I like to rub them both. I just tap them both, but you can do one or the other, doesn't matter. I just do both. Why not? It's this vague, uneasy feeling, vague and uneasy feeling. And then we're going to come right underneath the arm here, and it's right there. And it's just up and underneath. And it's a big area. Don't worry that you're going to miss these points. All right. And it's just this vague, uneasy feeling. And I like to take a big, deep breath. And I did miss the step because ideally, what we would do is before we even tapped, we would get that feeling that I had and I would rate it. It was 1 to 10. 1 being just minuscule or even better. Yeah, it's 0, nothing, all the way up to 10, like I'm ready to jump out of my skin, give me sedatives right now. So, so like that day, I would say, because when I did it, I was like at a good 6 or 7. So once you rate it and you tap through one time, and then you would just check in again. And I think just the act of checking in is important. I think all these steps add something. Uh-oh, I'm not supposed to touch my face, am I? Gosh darn it. But anyhow, what the just checking in and being aware that, yeah, I have this feeling, and you don't have to name it. You don't have to think about why, who, what. Just acknowledge it and go, oh, yeah, I got it. And then you do that, and then we do that again. So what we're going to do is we're just going to go over a few things here, go over what I think are some big issues for people right now. And then we'll just kind of, we'll do something I think that most of us are probably experiencing or have experienced at one time or another. And then we'll go through it. And then I'll have you check in, and then we'll go through it. Then we'll recheck, and then we'll do it. Maybe we'll do it 2-3 times. So I'm thinking a big one for, I know a lot of people, is that I think a lot of us can identify with is these right now is just this, the whole concept of this financial hardship. It's going to be a challenge for a lot of us here, you know, and even people, no matter how much money you have, people are, finances is a pretty big security thing, right? So we all experience that in a different way. So what I know, so what I'd like you to do is just think of, just maybe, I like to always just close my eyes when I check in, kind of cut out things, but I would just, for me, I'm just going to think, all right, financial hardship, what are possibilities of why and how, and how I just check in, where do I feel this financial instability, hardship right now, you know? So a lot of times, you know, energetically, finances are low back. So a lot of people will feel it right in their, right in the, right in the small of their back. They'll feel it coming down sciatic. They'll get all kinds of issues with it. So I would, so if you, so just check in and see when we think of hard financial issues in regards to all this going on, and just see if you can check in and see if you feel it. Hopefully you don't. Hopefully it's all good. But if you do, give it a number. Where, like, what intensity do you feel it at? And okay. Good. And you know, and a lot of us, it's worrying about paying bills, of course, right? So an easy one to go in, and so let's just do the karate chop. Even though I'm really worried about being able to pay all my bills on time, I love and accept myself completely. Even though I have this real fear that I may not be able to pay my bills, I love and accept myself completely. Even though I'm really worried about being able to pay my bills, I love and accept myself completely. So now we're going to tap those points on the inside eyebrow. This real worry, concern about paying my bills. Side of the eye, worried and concerned about paying my bills. Under the eye, worried and concerned about paying my bills. Underneath the nose, right in the midline there, worried and concerned about paying my bills. Right on the chin, worried and concerned about paying my bills. And then underneath the arm, worried and concerned about paying my bills. Oop, I missed one, didn't I? And right here, I'm going to go back to the collarbone, worried and concerned about paying my bills. And it doesn't matter what order you go in. It's best to do it in order so you try not to forget stuff that way. So let's have you just close your eyes, check in with where you were before, and just see if it's any different now than where you were. I feel a little better. So then what we'll do is we kind of give that a number, and there's no right or wrong on the numbers, right? And it's a strictly subjective. It's whatever you say it is, that's what it is. And so let's do that another round again. So even though I'm very worried and concerned about paying my bills on time and paying them at all, I love and accept myself completely. Even though I'm very concerned about paying my bills, I love and accept myself completely. Even though I'm very concerned about paying my bills on time, I love and accept myself completely. So once again, paying the bills on time, the inside eyebrow, paying the bills on time, concern. On the left side of the eye, paying my bills. And go with that feeling that you get. Try to amplify that feeling. Paying my bills. Am I going to be able to? And now underneath the nose, paying my bills. Paying my bills. On the chin, paying my bills. Right on the collarbone there, paying my bills. Paying my bills. Underneath the arm there, paying my bills. Paying my bills. I like to take deep breaths throughout because it seems to come. So then we would rate it again, right? And see where you're at. And so that's pretty much the basic EFT. And what I've done in the past, what I'll do is even for something like that, I'll dig in a little deeper. And if something like, say you're tapping or you're thinking and all of a sudden you go, oh yeah, geez. I remember back when I was in college and I had to drop out because I couldn't afford the tuition, or something happened with the family. I had to drop out and help at home, so, and just kind of wherever it leads to, just follow that down and just drill down. And just trust. A lot of times people say, oh, am I making this up? No, you're not. It's, that's our intuition. And so it's important to appreciate it and to understand that whatever comes up, that's what's ready to come up and ready to be released. So it's perfect time. So when I do this, I'll do it. I can do it while I'm driving because, I can hold the steering wheel, I can tap. And even if, and it's, after a while, after doing this, you could even, I just imagine you're doing the points. I was reading today, doing a little more research on this, and a lot of practitioners, that's what they recommend, because like say you're on a train, you don't want to be tapping or whatever, but you feel you want to tap, you can do it, but and if somebody sees you tapping, who cares anyhow, truthfully. But and it's all about our intention and our it's all about, like, what I love about this technique, because I love and accept myself completely. That's what it's all about. Because if we can do that, if we can never, all of us can get to that point, we are doing ourselves a world of good. And because a lot of things that make us feel bad is because we just, it comes those first 7 years of life, and man, we just, our parents, they loved us dearly, most likely. I hope all of us, our parents did, but some people had rougher childhoods than me, that's for sure. But a lot can, there's a lot of grist for the mill from those earlier memories. So if some of those early things come up, just work with it and play around with it. There's no right or wrong. You can do so much. You can do so much stuff. So even like, so we can go in on so many things, different ways. You can go even in energetically. If you're into the chakra system, you can use chakras and go in on different chakras. If you have where you wanted to speak up, you couldn't speak up, and if your throat area, you can kind of just go in with this and think about that and how it makes you feel. There's a million and one ways to do this, and the beauty of it is it's all right. You really can't. Number one, you can't do any harm. You can only help. Number two, it is absolutely, the more we can love and accept ourselves, the better off, and a lot of things just roll off your back, and it helps you bring up your gratitude, and it helps you really live more your authentic self. And when you're living that, a lot of things that used to be important aren't so important anymore. And I think that might be a gift coming out of all this. I'm really looking forward to seeing in the next 2 weeks, month, 6 months, a year, talking to people. I'm going to be asking people what good came out of this for you, because Napoleon Hill, he's the guy who wrote Think and Grow Rich back in the 20s and 30s. He always said any situation, no matter how adverse, has a seed of an equivalent or greater benefit. And it's just a seed, mind you. And you need to take care of a seed. You need to plant it, you need to water it, you need to take care of it. So there's a seed here for all of us, for us as a society, for us individually, us as families. So I would recommend that we do that. We tap, and we so we can get rid of the fear, the anxiety, all the rah, and really focus on what's important here. So with all that being said, like I said, I'm going to be sending out to email blast tomorrow morning, or tomorrow at some point. It's going to have a recording of this. It's going to have I have a nice handout on doing emotional freedom technique, and then also a couple of good websites you can check out that I really like that go over this. And I also wanted to, because I understand a lot of people don't want to be out right now, and I think that's, and people, it's so funny, people calling up and say, "Oh, I hope you don't mind." I'm like, "No, I don't mind." We self-care. We have to do what's right for us, and it's not making other people happy isn't our goal, is it? So so with that being said, I'm going to be offering, because I really like this emotional freedom technique. I like this technology, and Zoom really allows us to be able to do this kind of in person, so to speak. virtual in person. So I'm going to be offering these over the next 2-3 weeks to help people out. And I also, um, and a lot of people have been asking about nutrition and immunity and all that. So I'm going to be adding a couple things there. But if people want to do just a telephone conference, a consult with me, what they can do, um, by all means, we can do that. And then, and if you really need it, I do have a portable table. Over the years, I have made house calls. If you really know somebody who needs a good treatment and they don't want to get out, we can make it happen. All righty. So, let's hang in there. We're as a community, and what we do is when we ourselves do this, we help our neighbors. There's studies that show the more we can raise our vibration and keep it. And it's not Pollyannish. This is the Heart Math Institute. People have done this research that we affect people up to 3 layers deep. So when we do these things, we affect our family, the people around us, and all the people they come in contact with. It gets weaker as time goes, as it goes to generations. And then even a third generation, they are affected in a positive way. So we have a ripple effect, literally have a ripple effect when we do work on ourselves. So we have plenty of tools out there. Let's use them. Let's just make this best we can for us right at this time. All righty. Thank you all. And I'll be sending that out tomorrow at some point. Have a great night. Thanks. Ciao all.